want to be safe. We all want to be warm. We all want to feel loved. Know the comfort of home. Want our children to grow. Learn to make their own sound. Seems to me we all walk on common ground. Common ground.
I'm trying to keep a little humor today because today's another day of agony in the United States of America. Another day of MAGA monsters driving us all crazy. So today is a kind of it should be a memorable day. The Supreme Court of the United States is hearing arguments on whether or not an insurrectionist should be allowed to become president. Now, they'll debate whether he's an insurrectionist, and they'll say a lot of things, I'm sure, in that regard. But there's actually only one argument that might work. It's an absurdity, but that seems to be the way these days. Let's just talk about the border for a second. Okay, we have a situation at the border where we used to have about 500 people a day come to the border. Now we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,000 people a day coming to the border. So it's a real problem. There's no question about it. It has been shared, some would say, in an illegal fashion by the governors of Florida and Texas, dumping some of these immigrants off in different states to try to make a point. But the reality of the situation is it really is a problem. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's not a problem the way some people think, it's going to take away jobs, because these people take jobs that nobody here wants anyway. So that's not the real problem. There's not enough of them to make that kind of a difference. We need the labor that they bring. We can't expand the economy to the degree that we would like to without the labor. So we've got that situation going for us. But what the Republicans, the MAGA Republicans, wanted was a very, very harsh policy to be enacted into law. So we said, okay, we see we've got a problem. We'll go for it. We'll put this policy in action. Now, the policy has nothing to do with DACA or long-term issues. It's not an immigration policy. It is a law enforcement policy. And what the Democrats are basically asking for in this policy is we need X number of billions of dollars in order to hire 1,500 more border guards, in order to buy the kinds of technology, drones and things like that, to watch the border much more carefully. And so we basically said, yes, we'll do everything. They said, we're not going to give you money for the desperate soldiers in Ukraine protecting their land from an invader, Vladimir Putin. We're not going to give you money for Israel until you say yes to this. So we said yes, completely yes. The people on the far left of the Democratic Party hate this bill with a passion, but we said yes anyhow. We're done. We're ready. The Senate has passed the bill already, a bill of their own, but it has to be approved by the lower house, by the Congress. And the Congress is now saying no. And they're saying no because the clown from the reality show, The Apprentice, has told them to say no. What say you to this impasse, my friend?
You can't argue with a 2-year-old.
Exactly.
Because they'll just change it. I know I asked for ice cream, but now I want candy. And they'll change that as soon as you give them I don't want that kind of candy. I want the other kind. The kind that grandma has.
You've had experience with 2-year-olds. Okay.
I have. They don't talk quite that much, but you know what I mean? Like the under 5 set.
Yeah.
They really are. I don't know what these guys do. What does Jim Jordan do? All I ever see him do is threaten people with impeachment.
Everything they are about is what they are against. You can't just be against for everything. You have to be for something. And they were for this border bill. And this, by the way, is a much tougher border bill than Trump ever imagined when he was president. He didn't get anything done. He didn't build this stupid wall that he's talking about. And why is a wall such a stupid idea? Because anytime you build a wall, if you build a wall 30 feet tall, you can build a ladder 30 feet tall. You can abridge any wall. It doesn't matter how tall it is. It doesn't matter what it's made out of. You can get over it. You can go under it.
Why go over it? Go under it.
But the technology that we are recommending in this bill, which costs money, is drone technology. It's tracking technology. And, you know, when a drone sees somebody violating the border, it can follow that person. It can keep following them. It doesn't matter whether it's total dark of night, doesn't matter whether it's in the day. It can follow them, and they can be properly apprehended and processed accordingly. So we're recommending a methodology, a technical methodology that would work. You can't climb over a drone, okay? It's there. It can see you. That's it. And, you know, it's 1,000 feet in the air, and it can follow you wherever you go. So
I have a similar issue at my home, but I have no one. I'm the only legislator here. How do you tell a deaf dog to be quiet? This is very much like talking to the Republican Party.
I think
How do you tell a deaf dog to be quiet?
Once again, you have crystallized the situation. There's no two. Oh man!
But that's what I'm talking about. You're right. Yes, but we can't agree to that because, as you said, you know, Donald Trump doesn't like a solution right now.
Right. The conflict is much more valuable to him than the solution. And if people die and suffer, and if the country is in fact invaded by dangerous persons, fine. Don't worry about it. The house is on fire. We're going to send the fire department in 11 months to put it out, okay? So don't worry about anything. Go out in the backyard, and 11 months from now, we'll come with the fire department. We'll put the fire out. That's basically what they're saying to us right now. We need this border bill. It needs to be signed now. It needs to be enacted right away, and they are refusing to do that so that Donald Trump will be able to bloviate about it.
We could come up with the most brilliant border bill ever, and it's just not going to happen because he doesn't know what else to talk to. That's it. He only can say, the border, they won't do anything. And anytime you watch any of, I'm sorry, man, but I watch Fox News, I watch Hannity. Oh my God. They're not interested in fact. They're not interested in discussion. They're interested in you being wrong. Mm-hmm. You need to be wrong. It's the whole premise of everything they do. They have to show you how useless the Democrats are, and for that they need to be wrong. So they need to change the facts because the real ones just don't work in that, you know, scenario.
They tried to impeach Alejandro Mayorkas yesterday or 2 days ago. It didn't work because it shouldn't have.
It was never going to work.
No, he's doing everything that a human being can do right now with the current laws in place and with the money that is available for surveillance of the border. We need more money to surveil the border in a more aggressive and intensive way. And until they sign this bill, we can't do that. It's that simple. There's one more thing, though, that I want to bring to bear here, because I in all this talk, we never really talk about this. I'm going to transition to a slide right now. I want you to let this sink in for a second, everybody who's watching the podcast today. These are two precious little children. Okay, their mother is Verdima de la Sancha Cerros. She was 33. This picture was taken in 2019, so they're a little bit younger here. But when they were trying to cross this body of water to come to freedom, to come to hope here, after they had come some 1,000 miles to get to that body of water, they all drowned. This precious little girl, this precious little guy, a 10-year-old girl and an 8-year-old boy and their 33-year-old mother drowned because of the barbed wire and because of the razor wire that Texas set up on the other side of this body of water. They were taken in, It was a storm. Now, I know that there are some folks in Texas that are saying right now, well, that's their problem. Good for them. Too bad they weren't supposed to be there in the first place. Folks, we have people that are desperate. This is called desperation migration. That's what it is. And you have to deal with it. You have to deal with desperation migration. Most of the patterns of migration in the world right now are driven by desperation. Much of that desperation driven by Vladimir Putin on the European continent. And there are other things that drive it in South America. The thing is, you can't ignore it. It exists. It's real. These people are desperate. And there has to be some humane way of dealing with this. And if they would pass this bill, we could begin that process.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking about, Ellis Island back in the day, right? How many people came off those boats? I mean, every picture I ever see of Ellis Island is just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people.
All my grandparents.
This was constant. This was a constant influx of immigration.
Yeah.
Why was that possible? But today, we can't manage to have a bill that can do the same thing. Why? Because these people are not white? Is that the deal?
That's a large part of the deal. A lot of the immigration that happened back then was European immigration. My grandparents on my dad's side were Italian. My grandparents on my mom's side were Irish and Portuguese. And, that was acceptable. We were a growing country. These people are people of color. They come from our southern border. And that plays, I think, largely into the resistance. But there's also too many per day, and we don't have an Ellis Island facility to properly manage and take them in. We have facilities, but they're way overburdened right now. So that's what has to be fixed. And this bill is the only way it's going to get fixed. Until that happens, those two little children that I just showed you, and I want you to think about them because I can't get them out of my mind, and their mother, they're going to keep dying in terrible ways. One of the things that Texas did, just to add one more blow to this misery, is they decided to put razor wire underwater in the bodies of water to stop people from swimming over.
Joking.
No, that's
cruel.
It's disgusting, utterly disgusting, and it doesn't have to be that way. These people can be stopped with proper technology and the right number of border agents. They can be stopped and properly processed the way a decent, humane country should.
Another thing about this border, and the the constant influx of desperate immigrants, is that what is making them desperate? Wouldn't it make more sense to look at the cause? Why are people don't decide like for fun to walk 1,000 miles through perilous situations where, they have to pay coyotes everything they have to be left in the desert somewhere.
Yep.
Nobody chooses that unless it's their best option. What is it that's driving that?
Desperation.
And why can't we look at that driver
Couldn't agree more.
kind of shut the tap off so we don't have this tremendous influx?
There's poverty, there's crime, terrible levels of crime in some of these countries and south of our border. And we're not in a very cooperative position with Mexico right now. Its current leader has had enough, and he's acquiesced to the drug cartels somewhat. I'm not exactly sure why. I certainly hope he doesn't have something to do with them, but fear alone could be a good enough reason. But until you collaborate with the country on the other side of the border, you're not going to solve this problem. And to your point, until you get at the driving factors, which are poverty, crime, the misery of their situation, the desperation of their situation, you're not going to fix this.
I'm thinking back to the day, back when America's real drive in the 60s, I guess 50s, 60s, post World War II America, and people were more interested in providing assistance in the way of agriculture, in the way of education, in the way of healthcare, in the way of providing clean water. Whatever happened to that? Why don't we take that approach? It seemed to be working.
Because to nefarious legislators, conflict is far more valuable than solution.
Absolutely.
That's
right.
Listen,
that is it.
We've been trying to keep these things to between 15 and 20 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this one up right now, and we're going to come back and do another on what's happening in the courts today, in the Supreme Court today. So thank you, good Donald.
Yes.
Always appreciate it.
I was good today.
You were good today, and
bye, folks.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
We all want to be safe. We all want to be warm. We all want to feel loved, know the comfort of home. Want our children to grow, learn to make their own sound. Seems to me we all walk on common ground. Common ground, common ground. We all walk on common ground.
We all wanna be strong, fully free and alive. Take just enough chances, stand up tall and with pride. Yes, we all wanna play, have good friends all around. It seems to me we all walk on common ground. Common ground, common ground. We all walk
on common ground. Some conversations aren't easy, and we wonder how we'll turn this mess around. But if we realize and seek to compromise,
we sleep under one moon, lift our face to one sun, feel the wetness of rain, seek shelter, everyone. Yearn for rest when we're weary, seek solace when we're down. It seems to me we all walk on common ground.
Some conversations aren't easy,
and we wonder how we'll turn this mess around.
But if we realize and seek to compromise, we can meet on common ground. Common ground. We all walk on common ground. Common ground. Common ground. We all walk. I know that we all walk 1 foot forward. We all walk on common